Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Kasrabi. Thank you for joining us for our live show on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific. It was at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're here in Los Angeles. We take cases from everywhere in the world. Our location doesn't matter for the cases we do, thankfully, for immigration law. We to help everybody, not everybody, but people who fit within the frame, which is, family cases, people starting small businesses, stuff like that. Stuff we like to really help people on. So again, I'm immigration lawyer John Kasrabi. We do this weekly show every Tuesday. We've been doing it for a lot of years now, where you take your questions live on the main stuff, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, and TikTok, which I'm trying to set up right now behind the scenes. You may have heard some noise come. That was like TikTok being opened up. But it's a great source of questions, always a lot of questions coming from there. And we're getting a larger group joining on different places. So again, I'm immigration lawyer John Kasrabi here to take your general immigration-based questions, only 9-10 different individual legal guidance. The always question is, what's going on in immigration? Well, there's always a lot going on. One of the most confusing things are the new fee increases or fee changes, not necessarily increases. The government reset the way it does the fees, and they made the most complicated system ever. So you can expect a lot of cases are going to get rejected, and a lot of people are just going to be confused on what's going on because the fee system structure they created, it's too complicated. I mean, I'm sure we get used to it probably over time, but way too complicated than was needed. It was very unnecessary, and they try to save money on certain parts so they could create more work. For example, to get a lower fee, you have in certain types of cases to have your filing fee go down. You got to do so much paperwork that, for example, if you have a lawyer doing it, like the amount you'll save off the fee is much less than like the lawyer cost to help you get the fee. Or yourself, the hour you got to spend to prep it up. So it just wasn't very thoughtful. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes with these kind of things. Very frustrating because it just makes everyone's lives harder. But again, we're here live on all these social media outlets. We see a lot of people are joining. If you have some general questions and stuff, let me know. I think my internet might have some issues. Usually I have like 1,000 questions at this point. So it might be just coming in late too a little bit. But okay, so other than that, the fee increases are happening and happening in many types of cases. Some got cheaper. But the main question people have is what's going on with all these delays. And what we're seeing, one aspect is for people applying for adjustment of status in the United States as a green card in the US, you could file a work permit with that. Now, the work permit up until April 1st of this year was a free add-on with no extra filing fee, so everyone would do it. But now they're charging money for it. If you're doing adjustment, I think it's like 220 extra or something like that. The way they priced it is just so weird. But going past that, I think people are probably submitting less work permit requests now. So it's eased up a little bit probably. We're getting like work permits approved already for cases filed right before April 1st. We've got work permits for like more than half of our case at this point, which is, I don't know, it's been like 6 weeks. So that's good news right there. That can help a lot. Jordan A350 on regulars. I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, John, what's up? Is it okay to apply for a job in the U.S. and then marry on a tourist visa? Then she applies for a green card for me while we are in the United States. It's like we got to know all the context around it. Like if you're already planning on doing this out, no, I can't recommend someone do that. But people do that. They come tourist visa. They're trying to like talk to some companies to see what's going on. Then they decide, that does happen. And it's doable, but we can't come planning that out. That's not possible. To say, okay, I'm going to go like kind of like, scheme the system or something like that to get it in. Boston says, how do I apply for asylum? You file an asylum application, but we don't do asylum at our firm, but just file an application for it, depending with the USCIS office or if you're already in court with the judge. Paranoid, I made it sound much easier than it actually is. It's like a whole thing, but we just don't handle asylum, so I don't want to go too much into giving advice on that kind of case. All right, let me go really quick, move stuff around. All right, so Paranoid Humanoid says, no question about time frames, processing time, etc. Thank you, Paranoid Humanoid. One of our regulars, there's only regular listeners. John says, I've been busy at college. I'm done, though. Well, congrats. Take advantage of your OPT period. If you're STEM, do STEM OPT. Look into maybe doing the E2 if you're depending on what country or passport you have. So there's just different things that are possible. Another day ask, pending asylum to AOS, is it legit via DV lottery? It's not illegit. So we've got a lot okay, so this is like a huge topic to talk about. We could trim this off and make it into a clip probably. So the diversity visa green card lottery results started to come out this like last week or so, last couple of days. And we've been getting slammed with consultations. We got just the full day, we're getting consultation requests last couple of days. In particular, because we've made a lot of videos about people who came to the U.S. legally with a tourist visa or whatever, filed for asylum. The asylum case taking years. And while that's happening, they win the green card lottery. And so what happens from there is like, okay, when the green card lottery in the US, I file for adjustment of status. The problem is that to be able to adjust status in the United States, according to INA 245C2 or something like that, you have to maintain continuous lawful residence in the United States, lawful status. And there's some legal terminology. I'm not being exact what I'm saying this stuff right now, but just to make it easier, I'm using like general terminology. And so like, is a person with an asylum pending application in status or not? And generally, most places in America say no. Most USCIS offices and the courts to a certain extent, this and that. And so what happens is people in these kind of situations, they file for a green card based on win the green card lottery. And 9 out of 10 times they're going to get denied because they didn't maintain lawful status. And then 1 out of 10 times get approved. So it's a massive inconsistency on how the different offices handle it. Eventually, there's going to be lawsuits on this or something like that. I was expecting lawsuits on this already. I talked about this particular issue for many years now, for the last 10 years. So the most amount of videos are on the internet about this topic, or probably the only videos that keep talking about this topic. There's so thousands of thousands, probably tens of thousands of people in this situation, at least 10,000. We just see it a lot. So that's that. So most likely you'll get denied, but you know, if you want to pay the money for it, give it a shot. You might get approved. Now, even if you are approved, it could come down years down the line. They'll look back and say, oh, we approved you by accident. You weren't supposed to be approved. They can take away the green card. So that's the inconsistency and unreliability and discomfort with the immigration system that has situations like that. And they follows up exceptions done for marriage, family member, U.S. citizen. Yeah, if you adjust status and you're married to U.S. citizen, this exception doesn't apply. Or just immediate relatives, your parent of U.S. citizen, minor child of U.S. citizen, but it applies for everyone else. There's an exception for 245. There are exceptions, but 245I, there's 245K, there's just different things. But generally, just plain and simple AOSDV, that problem exists. Dealer says, what's the current wait time to approve I-40? I don't know about current wait times. Another day follows up, but asylum pending is like none but taxes, all fees paid without refund decades. Yeah, that's just what that's the immigration system in a nutshell. All right, let's go to okay, so Instagram. Lauren says, is the K1 visa easy to get? Well, the thing about immigration, it's not about easy or hard. We do this stuff all day. So like for us to prepare application stuff, it's part of our system, so it's easy. But there's problems. The one is we need a lot of documents from you, and some people don't have documents. It's hard to get them. It's lost. The documents have issues. They have the wrong name or date of birth on it. So there's all those kind of issues. If you don't have those issues, it's going to be easier for you. But a lot of people have these document issues. Some people don't have the money to be a financial sponsor, so they got to get a joint sponsor. And then they got to do extra paperwork they don't know about. They don't know how to prep for the embassies because the embassies don't make it really clear how to do a K1 visa. They have all these websites they've created, but they're not consistent. They change the rules, and each embassy does it differently, especially for a K1 fiance visa. That's like, it's not easy. K1 is not easy because if you're getting married and you're doing a marriage green card I-132 consular processing kind of case, they've fixed the system so you know what to expect. When you're dealing with a K1 non-immigrant visa, it's not an immigrant visa, a non-immigrant visa. Essentially, each embassy has their own protocol of how they want the application to be submitted, returned, and it's not as official. They kind of make it up as they go along half the time. So, I mean, not half the time, but enough where it's a problem. So yeah, K1 visas, they cost more. There's more interaction with the government. I strongly dislike them. Very few cases are appropriate for a K1. Sometimes it is, but rarely to do a K1 visa. I just really don't see much. Very rarely. Like the cases we used to recommend K1 visas were same-sex couples because they couldn't get married, so have to do it. But now there's different ways to get through that with online marriages and meeting each other and stuff like that. So that went away. And then once in a while, we'll have couples who say, no, we want to come to U.S. and have a beautiful wedding. And I try my best to dissuade them for that reason, because once they are a year or 2 or 3 years into this and they're out thousands and thousands of dollars, I'm like, you know what? Forget the wedding and have a beautiful wedding in the U.S. You just got it wherever possible and just get it done. That's what's going to happen. I've just been through this process. I'm getting old, so I get experience on this. It's just, experience is great. I just wish I had all this experience when I was 20. Life would have been much better. Hopefully, I could pass down this information and knowledge I have to y'all and to family and all that, kids, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, so is it easy? That's the easy answer I got to give you. Mira says, hello, I filed the I-131 form for the second time. I've just received a notice which says, we'll reuse your biometrics. Does this mean I can travel abroad now or not? I don't know what form you're applying for. When you say I-131, that's for a refugee travel document. It's for a reentry permit. It's for advanced parole. It's for TPS parole. It's for humanitarian parole. I'm assuming you have advanced parole, but I don't think advanced parole is automatic extension. So receiving a biometrics notice by itself has no bearing on whether you can travel. And because I don't know you particularly, I can't really advise you what's appropriate to do dangerous thing and leave the country or something. The lawyer had to K1. A lot of lawyers say K1 visas faster. I haven't seen that in my experience, but some lawyers push it that way. It could be their experience where it's been faster. Immigration is pretty consistent, but generally, I just don't see any value. I mean, if you look at the statistics, so how long an I-130, it's a marriage case. The timelines for that, last time I checked, like a couple months ago, were like 12 months to get an I-130 for marriage done. But a K1 went from 6, maybe it was faster back then. It went from 6 months to 9 months to 12 to 15 to almost 18 months now. So immediately, just to prove your relationship is real, that step, the first step one, that's going to take longer for I-129F, the K1 petition, immediately. And then it depends which embassy you're handling and dealing with. Some embassies will issue, visas faster or interviews faster. Some not. But at the end of the day, once you enter the United States, if you do a K1 fiance visa, you still got to file for adjustment of status and wait so many more months. And you got to apply for work permit. You don't have a work permit for so many months. It's just generally like some couples like really want it that way. I'm like, okay, they really force it. But it's been at least a year or two. Definitely don't want to, very rarely want to do a K1. Rose says, I came here on a K3. Well, that's amazing. Very few people actually come here on K3s. Can we adjust in the USA? I have to go back home country. No, the point of the K3 is for you to come to the US. Rose, please contact us and, take a screenshot of wherever you're watching this. I can see it's really you. I'm interested in learning how you got a K3 approved. It's very rare. So I want to talk with you just to see if you did anything different, because there's only like 5 K3s approved a year in the last couple of years. So I'm just very amazing that you got it. Please, contact us, DM, whatever the systems are. We'll try to get to talk about that. And if you have other questions, be happy to help you. At least provide some guidance there. Mir Hodge says re-entry permits. So no, re-entry permits, you got to get the re-entry permit approved. Mir Hodge, so for the I-131, the fact that you applied and you have a receipt, it satisfies CBP, which is the main person who's going to get annoyed that you're being absent for too long. But unfortunately, these things are taking forever. So whether you're traveling, I can't say specifically because I don't know your case, but that differentiates it. But by telling me it's a re-entry permit, you'll probably be okay. But just start living in the U.S. as soon as possible. All right, let's go back to YouTube questions. Boston says, "Is it a legal contract if I sponsor my friend applying for asylum?" You don't sponsor your friend for finding asylum. So a person applies for asylum on their own. Paranoid Humor says, what is the current state of individuals who applied for and were approved for DACA status? So the ones who have it already are just continuously doing it, just renewing it every 2 years. Hopefully they remember, and also getting work permit through it and travel permission. But it's up in the air. We'll see this election what happens. Arthur asks, hi, I received the IV fees for the principal and child, but I want to pay just for the principal and continue the immigration process. You should be able to do that. So if this person's at the consular processing stage for the embassy, National Visa Center, there's traditionally, if you're like a marriage case, there's 2 fees you got to pay there. One is the like a affidavit support fee, and the other one is like the, what is it? It's $445. There's 2 fees. So in this case, if you don't want to bring the child, there's 3 fees. There's one additional fee for the child. It's probably like $325 or something. Just don't pay that. I don't think you have to pay it. The National Visa Center may get confused, so you have to notify them. Probably that's what you're doing when you're submitting your documents, because they may say you haven't uploaded all the documents, so you won't review your case yet. So you got to notify them in some way that we're not doing the child's case right now. They're doing follow to join or something. But I would probably say pay it and lock in the child's age just for the purposes of the Child Status Petition Act at the very least. You need to definitely talk to a lawyer in private, because there's strategy involved, and like there's more involved if you want to bring a spouse, not the child, and what issues and complications that has. That requires like an individual consultation with a lawyer in private, because there's a lot of additional things that go along with your choices you're making there that got to be thought about, so you don't lose opportunities in a year or 2 or 3. So planning is really needed for something like that. Thomas Link says, is there a time frame to wait before making inquiry after responding to notice of intent to deny? It's been 2 months. Inquiries usually don't make a difference. I'd probably wait 6 to 12 months. Omain says, I'm a U.S. citizen sponsoring my spouse. I've been diagnosed with a disease that is manageable and not cured. Can I use this to expedite? Yeah, you give it a shot. Why not? I haven't been successful in these kind of like with petitioner being sick and expedited requests, unfortunately. I have another one that this morning we're talking about we're going to do. It's for the consular processing stage, but next stage after I-130. But it doesn't hurt. I mean, just call, give it a shot. We'll see what happens. Me says, I got a notice to appear about my asylum case. I got married, the green card holder. Can my husband apply for I-130? Well, you can apply for I-130, but if you're not a citizen, your fiance, soon to be spouse, is going to be out of status for too long. So that creates problems for adjusting status or getting a green card in the United States. But we don't handle the cases in court. So I recommend consulting with an attorney for sure in private, but we're not a specialist on people who go to in court. Omar says, I just sent my evidence for I-485 22 days ago. I've been waiting for the past 5 years on NYC. I'm sorry. These things just take forever. Daniel says, how long to approve I-75 removal conditions? I don't know. However long it takes them. That's really the answer. It's really inconsistent. Okay, so user 3 says, if my husband gets a green card, it's okay for me too. It depends on, I mean, usually you'd be able to come on it, but there's more to it we got to talk about. I can't say that long. Me said he can't, my husband sponsored me for a green card. There's problems. So you got to consult with the attorney in private, because if you're not a citizen, it creates problems. There's certain things, benefits spouse of citizens get as opposed to spouse of green card holders. So that has to be reviewed in private to see what's going on in your case. And JV says, adjustment interview January 6th. I just found out RFE is issued January 6th. I never got it. What do? You got to contact USCIS immediately and notify them you never got it, and just make a big fuss about it to try to fix it. Davey says, if I work under my Social Security, will it affect me when I apply for my green card? Yeah, it will, because when you work under your Social Security, you still have to fill out a form called I-9 if you're an employee at some company, and they ask you for immigration status. And if you start seeing fraudulent stuff, or say you were a U.S. citizen or something like that, that could be problematic. Case status shows case pending on website. Yeah. Yasin says, how long does affirmative interview decision take? There's no how long. How long it takes them. Let's go back to Instagram. Paulie asks, my case is USCIS website says 2 months till decision. Out of nowhere, for a reason, it says 20 months. Do you have any evidence or explanation? Yeah, the timelines are this is the typical thing that happens. Any timeline the government gives very rarely is anything reliable or useful. So don't even it's just good to see how long it's going to take. Mir follows up. Hi, I filed for I-130 permanent resident wife. It's been over 2 years. 2.5 years pending, and it says your case being viewed. How long would it take for a visa to be ready? I don't know, Mir. I don't know enough about your case to be able to tell you that. I think you asked a question earlier, I think. But I don't know enough about your case to be able to answer that. Mir says, my parents are green card holders. My father's really sick and even held hospital. They haven't come to U.S. 3 years. What should happen to their green card? What should we do? You guys, this is private consultation. Getting too much into details. We got to sit and talk about your family. Lauren says, I'm hoping for the best. Same here, Lauren. Lily asks, hey, John, I hope you're doing great. Thank you. After the I-130 approved, how long does it take for the next application that's set up to obtain green card and a marriage petition with a U.S. citizen? Well, are you in the United States or outside the United States? This is a good time to plug, and I wish I said it sooner. We have a guide that explains all this stuff. It's 40+ pages, free PDF. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And it just goes through all these processes, so it gets the answer. But Lily, I don't know what kind of case you have. If you needed to file adjustment of status, you should have done it with the I-130. If you're outside, you got to start consular processing and working with the National Visa Center. If your I-130 has been approved after a few weeks, they should send something. But to get you started on that, if they haven't, you got to contact the National Visa Center or USCIS. So you just got to get something running. The best is schedule. Download the guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Then schedule a private consultation. Lauren says, my fiance interview Friday. I'm hoping he passes me too. I wish you the best, Lauren. Rashni says, can someone apply for EB3 while he's not pending asylum? Same issue I talked about a little earlier. Whether they consider pending asylum a status, which most officers will not, will be the big key difference. If you get lucky and some officers consider status, you get the green card approved. I don't know if they're going to come back later and hassle you about it and say it was incorrect or something, but that's the state of the situation right now. Okay, so I don't handle those kind of cases that are in courts. I recommend consult other people. Daniel says, how long does it take I-75 removal? It's been 10 months. Yeah, look at your receipt notice. So for the I-751, the receipt notice says you have an automatic extension of up to 4 years. Why would they say we want to give you an automatic 4-year extension? That's a long period of time. It used to be 1 year when I started. Then it became 2 years halfway through my experience in this field. Now in the 2 years ago, they made it 4 years. So when 10 months have gone by and you're saying, hey, how long is it taking? They're giving you 4-year extensions. So it's telling you ahead of time. It is what it is. Now, if you've been married and living with a U.S. citizen, you don't really care about the I-751 other than the annoyance of having to file it, because in those kind of cases, we just file for citizenship and we wrap up both cases together, and that's the typical thing that we do. So most of our cases are marriage, U.S. citizen spouse cases. That's the way to go. All right. So Malvin says, hi, what happened when your I-485 gets sent to NBC? They're just working on it. Dina says, hi, I'm a U.S. citizen. Me and Dina, the rest of your question is not coming up. Let me go to Instagram really quick. Xfinity says, I should receive an EAD extension receipt in 30 days after filing. Should, but we'll see. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, getting a little bit of a runny nose all of a sudden. And Mike's right next to my nose. So I'm sorry you have to hear me with a runny nose. Must be kind of weird to hear. All right. So I-601A, does hubby have to leave the USA after approve? Is there a way he can stay here? No, the whole point of I-601A is to be able to leave the US to do an embassy interview, but not be held up for a waiver to be approved. Now, like if your husband has DACA and they got DACA AP, they travel back and forth, that could be something that could solve that situation. Mercer says, how long does it take for the embassy to semi-petition U.S. consulate? It's been 5 weeks. So NBC doesn't send necessarily the consulate. So what they do is then NBC gets the file first. You submit your documents. They review it. And then they say it's either documentally qualified or need more documents. Once it's good, then they send it to the embassy. And they wait for the embassy to notify the National Visa Center that an embassy appointment is open. And that depends on the availability at the local embassy, how busy they are. And once they give the notification, National Visa Center forwards an email to you or sends you an email at the time, but they're not really involved. They just review the documents and then they send it to the embassy. Now, there have been a period of times in the last 5 or 10 years where it took them like 3 or 4 days to review the documents you submit to National Visa Center to see if your documents are qualified or not. And we had periods where it took 3 or 4 months for them to do reviews. So it's all over the place. Mercer says, my fiance got approved. Just waiting on the consulate to get an interview date. Okay, so the I-129F was approved. You need to get an interview date, which is who knows when that's going to happen. What country are they from? It's worse in some countries than others. But then they got to get the visa approved, then come to the United States, get married, and then you got to apply for a green card. So that's why the fiance visa is, and it's a waste of money, in my opinion, to then essentially you're getting a tourist visa to come and get married. So you can't use a tourist visa with the intent to stay, but that's essentially what's happening. It's kind of annoying. Dina says, I'm a U.S. citizen. Me and my fiance have a 4-year-old child. I live in Africa, and he lives in Africa. What's the best way to bring him? Do I have to get married and come back to start the process? Yeah, if you want to bring a spouse over or someone, your fiance over, you got to get married or a fiance visa, one of those. I think we did a Ghana case recently. Would you say you're from Ghana or what part of Africa? Oh, there's someone else that's there looking for a tourist visa from Ghana. That's what that was. All right, we got a couple more minutes. Let's get some more questions. Let me switch up to Instagram. Mir says, how can we get through to a real officer by phone? USA's contact center, get past the robot. Request an info pass appointment. So say what you need, say info pass. And then that's to schedule a time to talk with somebody in person. And then talk with an officer if you need to talk with them in person. You could set up a time for that too. Rose says, which state are you in? I want to make an appointment with you. I'm in California and Los Angeles, but all our consultations are video based. So Rosane, I think I'd ask you to do a free consult because just somehow remind me so I remember it's you, but about a K3. But we do video consults only. We don't meet in person, so our location doesn't matter. Okay. Jan says, why is it taking so long for expedite EAD to be approved? Good question. I don't know. Kay says, my brother got the letter to submit his physical exam. So is his interview not needed? Most likely, but maybe they'll still ask for it. Do I have to go back for interviews for my visa renewal? Depending on what kind of visa it is. So like they have, like in India, they have, or probably a lot of places, they have automatic restamping, they have interview waivers, they have existing visa. It really depends on the case, the background of the person, what type of visa they're asking for. During Trump's time, they made it so everyone always has to do an interview, but that backed up the embassy so much, they got rid of that pretty quickly once he left, and so it's getting better. User 09 says, can someone marry someone different to the petitioner after being mistreated by the petitioner? Yeah, but it's going to like ruin your VAWA case. So if you're married a U.S. citizen, for example, or a green card holder and abusive, you have a VAWA case. But if you then divorce, get remarried, I don't handle VAWA in our office, and the attorney does, but from what I recall, it hurts the existing case if you get remarried. So I'm potentially a new spouse could file for a green card, but better talk with a lawyer. If you want to schedule a consult at our office, email us, Jake, or go to our website, and our attorney who handles those who talk with you, jqklaw.com/contact. Me, I know you're asking a lot of this stuff about asylum court, but this isn't the place. It's for a complex case like this. You really should have private consultations, not be sharing too much information about it. This is too deep. Definitely talk with an attorney in private. We don't specialize in what you need, so I'd recommend someone else. But that definitely, this is too detailed to be able to get into here. User 09 says, can't answer that. Rose says, turning in app for green card tomorrow with my wife. We both live in America. How's it looking? Life looks great. I don't know about the case. I don't know anything about that, so I just wish you the best. User says, how often do you see approval for men file for VAWA? It doesn't matter. If you have a good VAWA case, you have a good VAWA case. So it doesn't matter. KW says, what are the T and U visas? Can I get on an F1 visa? Yeah. So a T visa is a fixed victim of sexual trafficking. U visa is a victim of some serious crimes. And then yeah, anyone can apply for that if they could satisfy the requirements. User 3 says, if you have a green card and go back to home country for over a year, what happens? Probably nothing, but it'll make it harder to get citizenship in the future, and they can always hassle you at the airport. Or they could try to take your green card away. I mean, how often does it happen? Not often, but they could try to take your green card away. So risks on you. How to get same-day O ceremony? Ask them. Maybe they'll do it. Users, can my husband apply for I-130 for me? I don't know. Schedule a consult. Download a guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and then you'll get your answer there. Then schedule a private consultation. Diamond says, fiance visa processing, how long is different for every country in person? G says, after approval, I-360, I don't know about timelines. I'm going to skip through a lot of timeline questions coming up. And I'm kind of getting tired from a long day. So let's see how much more energy I have. 8 years pending asylum. How can we speed the process? Sue them. All right. Okay, so EB3 is going to retrogression. They sent the new info in May. Are they really going to do that? I don't know. We'll see. Now, I-130 processing time changed to 19 months. That's horrible. They're unreliable. I just got my green card. Congratulations. Why my fiance can't come to the U.S. and waiting on the ID-129F? They could have a tourist visa or something. They could come and visit. And they could be stopped, so it's a little risky. G says, or I answer that, if the parent has a green card, can they file for their unmarried son while living in the U.S.? Well, the problem is the child's out of status, so it creates immigration violation. So they could file an I-130 petition, but depending on the age of the child and all this kind of stuff, it affects the ability to get a green card in the U.S. and potentially creates bars later on that prevents them. So Invest Group at PLC, LLC, we gotta analyze the whole case to see what's going on. Okay. Morocco is all over the place, Mer. So sometimes it's really fast, sometimes it's really slow. Yeah, you're welcome. Aaliyah says, don't go back to your country for now interview. They will reject you. I don't that's not me. Dan says, my father's a U.S. citizen and I'm 29. How long is the process? If you're unmarried, it's gonna be between 7 to 15 years, probably. If you're married or unmarried, that could be a difference in what country you're from. Can I remarry after VAWA approved? I don't know. I don't do VAWA myself, so I have to talk with my associate who does. Gold Guy says, how does it take for the court administrator to respond after? I don't know. It's not immigration. Good evening, Don. Can you travel twice on travel permit or too risky? I mean, if you have a multiple entry travel document, then that part's not an issue. Risky is there's always a risk. I mean, if you get on a plane, there's a risk you get on a plane, the plane might crash, So I don't know what to tell you. If you have good reason, your background history is good, and then you're probably it's okay. But again, I don't know which plane's going to stay in the sky, which is not. I can't really say. C55 says, what documents? Oh, we got to end the show here. The kids yell in the background. That means we got to go and do some daddy stuff. Okay, so what documents you need advice for 1099 for I-64? All your financial stuff, and try to get a joint sponsor that has a W-2. That's what I would advise on that. Just make it easier yourself if you can find the sponsor. Thank you, everyone, join. It's appreciated. If you want to schedule a private consultation, go to our website first, jqklaw.com/contact, and that gives us some information about what kind of case you have, so we can know ahead of time if it's something that we do or not, and then we take it from there. All right, everyone, be safe. God bless, and I'll see you all next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific.